You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicky, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Jackie Paget Barrett.
And I'm Dr. Vicky Arcady.
And we're Flush Your Fat for Good to be lean and healthy for life. We actually wrote a book about it. Da-da-da. And we have a website called flushyourfatforgood.com. And we have devoted our life for the last, 30-something years.
Each.
Yes. In trying to help people have a better quality of life. Flush Your Fat for Good is a lifestyle for a lifetime that actually came to me. I always say through divine intervention, because I was in a horrible place. And when there was a lot of tragedy in my family, and when I finally came up for air and I could think and see, I saw that, wow, I had really looked like the cat brought me in. So I really was desperate about wanting to get the fat off like yesterday. I wanted to get lean. I was always a great eater. I was always a health nut. But when stress takes a hold, you're not sleeping, and you can't think of anything else because of the worry that you're in. The cortisol's put on, you eat erratically, and before you know it and you come up for air, you're a good 40, 50 pounds overweight, and now when you're in a place where you can finally say, okay, it's time for me, I have to take care of myself, then that's all of a sudden, it was like the Lord brought this entire lifestyle into my brain within 20 minutes. I started doing it, and it started becoming extremely effective. When other people saw, they wanted to know what I was doing, and then I was forced to put it down on paper. Then I was forced to put it down on a website, and lo and behold, it went into a book form, and we've gone for a couple of years now, about 3.5, 4 years.
Almost 5 years, I think.
Working with amazing people and changing their life with teaching them about our lifestyle. We have a private Facebook page that everybody is allowed in if they answer a couple of questions, because we want them to have skin in the game. And it's a culture of caring, and it's very private, so we want people to feel safe about the Facebook page. It's called Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies, and you're all welcome. You just have to ask to be invited, or go to the website and check out what we have to say and what we have there. So what we like to do most of the time, Dr. Vicky has Did You Know That? And we always have a subject matter
what do you
that
want
we've
me to
been
talk
talking
about.
Well, we're really emphasizing in the last couple of podcasts about the importance of having a buddy, of doing this as a partnership. And you talked about this last week.
I can talk whatever what you want me to talk about right now.
Apples? I don't know. No.
Apples, don't eat them unless they're organic.
Right.
Because they're one of the highest sprayed fruits.
No, but also there's something in the skin that stimulates the brown fat to burn the white fat.
Yes, it helps you with fat loss.
It's just a little.
But what the reason why I think our lifestyle works is, number one, it is a lifestyle. And now, I'm hearing on TV about certain other groups, other programs are now saying the same thing. Oh, we're not a diet, we're a lifestyle. Well, we have phase 1 and phase 2. And what we teach you is not we don't teach you how to be able to have, the sugary donuts and sweets and whatever it is that you're on now, and you're craving and you're eating that you shouldn't be eating now anyway, that causes inflammation. We don't teach you how to cut through and get those foods and eat them, and when, like some other programs, that do, and they actually have you eat a chocolate donut for breakfast, and it's one of the prepackaged food programs, and they have for breakfast a donut, or they have a chocolate cake, and the problem with that is when you're when you've lost your weight and your goal, and you've lost muscle, bone, and and obviously some fat and water, but you've lost a lot of muscle and bone on those kind of programs. But when you have a chocolate cake or chocolate donut for breakfast and you lose all your weight, you reach your goal and you looking pretty good, you can say to your friends, let's go down to Dunkin' Donuts and get a chocolate donut. I had it on this program. I can have it now. Oops, that's not going to work. What we teach you is the lifestyle with the way to eat. We teach you what you always wanted to know about food, when to eat it, how to eat it, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, what you should eat together with other foods, what you shouldn't eat together with other foods. And it's really the rules of the game, and you never have to worry ever again once you learn all this. And
that's because we focus on digestion, absorption, and elimination.
And we have 8 pillars.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a blueprint that when you do phase 1 and you're into rapid fat loss, and in her case, it was peeling off. She woke up one morning, got out of bed, and her pajama bottoms fell down. And she reached the point a few months into it that she was wearing her old clothes, and I said, I refuse to go anywhere with you. We had to go to a meeting, and I said, I refuse to go anywhere with you in those clothes. You have to go buy new clothes.
And you need a friend to tell you this stuff because you're so used to doing what you're doing by wearing baggier clothes.
She looks
She called me a shashla.
My mother would
like
say
a shashla.
My mother would say that because the clothes were just falling off of her, and they were so big, and I'm like, oh, you cannot do this anymore. This is like, you're not doing justice to yourself, okay? You lost all the weight, and now you look, like you're, in your lounging clothes that can't even stay up. You're pinning them, and okay. So anyway, we go through phase 1 where you rapidly, safely lose the fat. And then in phase 2, when you reach your goal and you're in the mirror and you're looking at yourself stark naked and you go, okay, I can live with this body, this is good. Then you go into phase 2 where you learn how to incorporate all the other different foods, and you, like starches and stuff. And we don't do starches or sugars in phase 1, but we teach you how to eat in phase 2, where you bring the grains back, you bring some starches back, and we show you exactly how to do it.
And it's written in the book. It's also in the workbook. And basically, what I want to focus on today is what we've done in the last couple of podcasts, are the importance of having a buddy.
Yes.
Okay, because spring.
So important.
Is spring here? Yeah,
it's
spring's
here.
Yeah. Spring is here.
Easter.
But, right.
I think Easter passed.
So, but the bottom line is, what does spring bring to you? That means short sleeves. Sometimes, now I know there some places it's snowing, but pretty soon you're going to be in a place where you want short sleeves or a tank top. You want shorts. You don't want to feel burdened with your weight, if at all possible. And also, the fun of doing a lifestyle is to have somebody that you can communicate with, relate to, somebody that you can go to lunch with, dinner, somebody can come over to your house and they'll feel safe.
And ask questions and back and forth,
right.
Ping
help
back
each
and forth.
Other.
Yeah.
You don't have to be as knowledgeable as we are.
No.
In fact, we do have 100 coaches on our Facebook page to help answer some questions. Yeah. And there's plenty of anything. This book is completely covering all of the answers that you might have.
Yes.
However, there's nothing like having a buddy to say, okay, I'm going shopping, you want to come with me? We know all the aisles. Okay, if somebody comes over to your house and they're on this lifestyle, they feel safe. You go over to their lifestyle, their house, you feel safe.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be in a place where they're going to offer you foods you don't want, foods that aren't good for you, foods that are
make you fat.
You're going to have to say, I'm sorry, I don't eat that. So I'm just saying that it's really, some people gather in groups, there's 3, 4, 5 friends and they all couples do it. But today we want to talk to sisters. And usually
we had our previous 2 podcasts, we had buddies together, friends. And then we had Katie, who is a coach, and she got her her buddy Laura.
Her friend,
the
yeah, but
last
they were
week.
friends from college.
Right. And
I don't know about you, but now it's a lot better, but it was always a rare day that me and my twin sister would not butt heads.
Yeah.
It's like, I think you should do this. No, why don't you mind your own business, you know? So,
are you wearing my top? No.
take that off right now, for God's sake. To find a situation like what we were excited about with Flush Your Fat for Good, it started off with a young lady called Jennifer, and we're going to give Jennifer a call and talk with her about how her life transformed, as you can see in the pictures, severely. I mean, I think that if you have known this person for a long time, looking the way she always has, and then you see her now, it's such a breath of fresh air, and it gives a lot of people hope, and they're inspired, because a lot of people cannot accomplish what she did, and it's through this lifestyle. So she's going to give you so I don't know, we're going to call her. Did we get a hold of her yet? They're going to ringy-ding.
I'm not sure. I think he's on the phone with somebody. Our
Okay.
trusty engineer.
Let me see what she's doing.
I think they're working on it in the control room over here.
Okay.
But yeah, here we go. These two sisters, you can see by their pictures, it's tremendous.
Well, it's inspiring.
It's
and that's-
life-changing.
It's really important that other people see that it's possible.
Hello.
Hello, this is Jennifer.
Hey there. How you doing?
Thank you. All right.
Great, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for being on the call
Yeah.
tonight.
And you know, Jennifer, everybody knows you in the Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies page as Coach Jennifer because of what you've accomplished, and you went through the coaching course. And, you know, I don't think we've seen before and afters of you, but what we just recently saw was it was jaw-dropping.
Yes, I mean it's.
I mean, we've
picture
been-
speaks 1,000 words.
And Jennifer, you're the host with the most on our Power 100 call. So we're talking to you every week.
Yeah,
We're just
yeah.
shooting the bull, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
wow.
it was so dramatic what
Wow.
you posted the other day that I
Yes.
don't think any of us really knew where you were at. So I just kind of want you to tell your story and then let us ask some questions. But you know, give us the Reader's Digest version of how this all came about.
Sure. Well, when I was growing up, I wasn't really thin. I was probably an average size. But when I was going into high school, my twin sister and I went to our sophomore orientation, and we went to meet an academic counselor, and we decided to go at the same time to meet her because we had the same academic counselor. We wanted her to know that we were twins, and yes, we did look alike. So we went together, and she, of course, tried to figure out how to tell us apart, as most people had our whole lives, because nobody could really tell us apart except for our mom and our other sister. But this woman, you know, looked from one to the other, back and forth, and finally she said, "I've got it. I know how to tell you apart. One of you is a little heavier than the other."
You know,
Oh
And-
man.
I hate that.
Yeah, we were 15 years old, and it was like that moment stopped. I can still remember. It just felt like the whole thing stopped. I stopped breathing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to say. And later I found out that I was the one that was a little bit heavier when we were in private, and I asked my twin sister how much she weighed, and I was 5 pounds heavier, which as an adult, that's not a lot, but as a 15-year-old girl, that's huge. And so it became my self-fulfilling prophecy. And thousands of times over the years, I would rationalize. I would say, well, I'm the heavier twin. You know, of course I need a little bit more ice cream, or of course I need one more cookie, or whatever. Usually it was around the sweets, not around the healthy foods, that I would rationalize a little bit more. So anyway, you know, totally my fault that I did that, but it all came from that observation that this woman made. I'm sure she was not intending to hurt me, but it did hurt. And so the pounds just crept on after high school, and pretty soon I was nearing 200 pounds, and I was mortified. I was in denial. I wouldn't even admit it to myself. And, at that point in time, back in high school, I weighed 115, and I was 5'3", I think, at that time. Now I'm probably 5'2" or 5'1", but still, I'm a very small person. So, and 115 pounds, I wasn't muscular or anything. I sure could have used some exercises to tone up and things like that, but I wasn't big at all. But when I got to 200, I was pretty big, and was mortified, wouldn't even admit it to myself, wouldn't tell anyone, wouldn't write it down. When I got to my heaviest, in the picture on the left there, I was 223 pounds, and I was wearing a double extra large, 22, 24, but I saw myself as about a 14. And I couldn't really get a grasp on what I had done, but I knew I needed to try one more time. I had tried several things over the years, but I was always afraid because I thought it was going to taste bad. It was going to be hard to do. I was going to have to look for things in the grocery store that I didn't know what they were if I tried, the popular diets. So I kind of dabbled in trying to lose the weight, but I never really figured out what to do. And then in early 2015, Flush Your Fat for Good was on in the second test group. I knew a few people in test group 2. Some of them posted pictures on Facebook. I saw some of those pictures. I talked to a few more people that I knew were doing the lifestyle, and they encouraged me to give it a try. And I just felt like it was my last chance. And so I started doing it, and I focused not on what I was giving up, which was a lot of sugar, but I focused on learning new things and being true to the lifestyle and keeping a positive attitude, and the fat just started melting off, and I was amazed.
Were you scared that you had to give up sugar?
Yes, absolutely, because I was drinking 2 Coke Classic was my pop or soda of choice, I guess, depending on what part of the country you're from. But Coke Classic, I would drink 2 of them a day, 2 20-ounce bottles usually. And I would usually eat a large bowl of ice cream every night right before bed. Not always, but probably 90% of the time. And I thought it was going to be really hard to give up the sugar. So instead of focusing on that, I focused on what's the next thing I get to eat, and how do I make some of the different recipes. And I tried to fill my mind with those things. I also tried to fill my mind with my goal, which was to get thin for a gala, a formal party that was coming up in a year. I knew I had about 100 pounds that I wanted to lose. I had never gone to prom or homecoming or anything like that. I never got married. I never had the dress. And so I wanted to have a really pretty dress and go to this formal party. Mm-hmm. So I focused on that.
Mm-hmm. But how long did it take you? Because a lot of people listening to 2 20-ounce Cokes and a pint or some of ice cream every day. How long did it take you? Because we know what happens with this lifestyle. We've seen people that after about 3 days, 4 days, they don't crave it, but that's an awful lot of intake of sugar. How long did it take you to know you were going to be okay without the sugar?
I think probably 2 weeks. I wasn't thinking. I realized about somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks that I wasn't thinking about the sugar. It may have happened sooner than that, but that's when the thought occurred to me, I'm really not struggling with denying myself the sugar anymore. I'm starting to be able to taste foods Water started to be pleasant to me. And fruits, I crave fruit now. I just had some a little bit ago. And
Wonderful.
it really surprised me that some of those things taste better to me now.
Now, Jennifer, your life, this is life-changing. And getting ready for a gala was one thing. And you were motivated, and all you could think of was, I want to have that moment. But that gala is here and gone. What is motivating you now to stay healthy and continue the lifestyle?
I want to help other people to do what I did. Along the way, I was surprised by some of the other health benefits that I experienced. For example, my lower back doesn't hurt anymore. My knees, my hips don't hurt anymore. I can easily stand up after I've been sitting for a long period of time. I still remember the day I came out of a brain fog. I was sitting in my office in my home, and all of a sudden I realized that things were sharper and clearer. I could hear better. I could see better. I could think better. I could think faster. And I felt younger again. When I could run up a flight of stairs. I ran up a flight of stairs a couple times without thinking about it, and it kind of shocked me. And my dad even noticed. And people were telling me that I was a nicer person. Family members that I was more fun to be around. Things like that. Yeah. And it made me realize that there are people that were in the place that I was in, that were experiencing things with their body that are related to the things that they've been eating and the condition that their body is in, and it's not permanent. I thought that these things, with these changes with my body, were just part of the aging process, but it's not, because they've reversed. You don't have to live that way. You don't. And I want to tell people that. I want to help people to live better.
Yeah. And, they say how you measure the quality of one's life is the impact you've made on others. So to have that in your heart, that you really suffered. I mean, with that woman talking to you like that, the teacher when you were 15 years old. I have a twin sister, same thing happened to us. They'd make us mix up, turn around, mix up. Let's see if we can tell you apart. Oh, you're the one with the fat face, or you're the heavier one. They don't understand what they're doing to, especially young kids. Oh, and
puberty.
For you to say, well, I'm going to just live the role then, give me the extra food. I'm the fatter one. You had no idea you were psychically sabotaging yourself. And you're lucky your health didn't get in such a dangerous place because of what you were doing to yourself. People have no idea what they're doing to others. So, and when you suffer that long, and then you really, God bless that gala, because it put you in a place where you were like, it's kind of the right timing with the right place, but you wanted that so badly, and now you want to help others. But also, I think now you're getting so much more out of life. And leave it up to family to always say, hey, you're kind of nicer. It's like, I always go, God, why are you such a jerk today? But it's always family, right? Oh yeah, I have noticed you're kind of nicer or whatever. But it's because Flush Your Fat for Good not only eliminates the cravings, helps you to sleep better, it gives you a better insight with clarity, like you said, but it does improve your moods while you're losing the fat rapidly. So I think motivation-wise at this point too, I think you got more pep in your step. I think you have a lot more joy for life. Are you feeling that? Like, yeah, now I really feel like I'm happy to be alive?
Yes. Yeah, I think, we all go through different emotional phases in our life and things, but I just was very unhappy. I used food, whenever I felt bad, it was like my self-medication was eating, especially sweets, chocolate, and ice cream were my weakness. And I don't do that anymore. Part of it is that I am seeing life in a more positive way. Part of it is that I'm not craving those things anymore. Part of it is that I'm using the buddy system. And if I do feel like something has hurt my feelings, I'm talking it out instead of reaching for food to put in my mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are several things that are contributing to just being healthier mentally and emotionally, in addition to being healthier physically.
Well, we've watched you grow tremendously across the board.
Yes.
Your confidence, your ability to handle the phone calls better and deal with the buddies that require help. Also, you're doing the Power 100 call now because that was your request. You wanted to help people that were, fighting obesity. And so we have the Power 100 call. If anybody would like to be on our Power 100 call, please go to our Facebook room and become, asked to be invited. And you have to answer some questions. And, Dr. Vicki she's in charge of the room. She'll put you in. And then you'll be notified as to when the Power 100 call is. But it will be tomorrow, so get lickety-split on it. The buddy system is really, we did a study, or we talked about a study, I think 2 weeks ago, something like that, where to have somebody that you do a lifestyle change with, you get the best results. So I know for a fact that you wound up telling your sister, Kathleen, about this. This is not your twin sister. This is your other sister. So how did that go?
So, there was the question of, do I share this with my family, tell them right away what I'm doing, or do I wait and let them see, the changes? And Kathleen lives far away from me. I live in Kansas City, and she lives in California. And so I usually see her once a year. And so I started this lifestyle in April. My goal was to lose about 100 pounds in a year. So by Christmas time, that would be like 3/4 of the process, right? So that would be, like around 75 or 80 pounds. And, I thought, of course, she's going to see a difference in me. And I felt like I can't do that to her. I can't put her that far behind because I knew she also had a lot of weight to lose. And I felt like I need to give her this opportunity too, and not put her 3/4 of a year behind me in her journey. I wanted to walk the path with her. And so I called her and told her about it. And I was hoping that she would want to, do this with me, that she would see the value in it. But at least I wanted to know that she knew about it before she came and saw me. And I didn't want her feelings hurt, and I also wanted her to get healthy as quickly as she could.
So real quickly, because we want to get her on too, how did she receive it?
She just wanted to get started right away. I didn't know some things that were going on in her life at that time, and I'll let her share that. But
she didn't know. She didn't want to know,
and she received it.
I was going to say she didn't want to know facts or anything like that. She didn't want to know how. Right.
Details.
Yeah.
She didn't
want to know a lot of the details. I'm a detail-oriented person, and so I wanted to tell the details, but she just wanted to get started and just give it a try. So I made a shopping list for her. That was the original version of what has now become the shopping list for the buddies. And it was for her that I created the shopping list and just coached her through it real briefly. And then she got more interested in learning more about it later on, which is, everybody comes to this a different way. And so we need to be ready to tell them, what they the information that they need to know at the point that they need to know it,
Yeah.
and then help them with their journey.
100%. Well, listen, thank you so much, Jennifer. You're always there for us
You're an
when you want to
inspiration.
share with other people. And I hope everybody will want to join the Power 100 call tomorrow and listen to you, because we know people that are obese, they have a different set of issues, and you more than anyone know how to work with them. So thank you, honey. Thank you for joining us, and just keep up the good work, and we really appreciate you getting on today with us.
Thank you so much for having me on the call, and thank you for just creating this lifestyle, and I will look forward to hearing what my sister has to say now.
Okay. All right. So,
All right.
so your sister didn't want to hear details. She was just wanted to
She
get
said-
started right away.
Yeah.
So
just
we're
tell
going
me
to
what
call
to do.
Kathleen and
Yeah.
see, what the story was there. And
Okay.
do we have Kathleen on yet?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, they just hung up. Okay.
All right.
All right. They're going to get her connected right now. Isn't this fun, sisters?
Yeah, and what's
It's-
interesting is when sisters listen to each other.
That's like a novelty, isn't it?
Well,
Our family anyway. Yeah.
when you call your sister and say, okay, so I've lost all this weight and you're fat, so I want you to get on with me,
Yeah.
But the nice thing was Jennifer said, I didn't want to go too far without her.
Yes. Anyway, Kathleen, are you there? Oh, there she is.
I hear. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Can you hear us okay?
We're having a little.
I can, yes.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
there
That's
you
better.
go. Yeah,
That's
get
better.
up as close as you can.
Yep.
Okay, so your sister just told us all kinds of secrets about you. No, I'm just kidding. The whole world just heard a lot of things.
about her too. So.
Yeah, it goes both ways, right?
But where we stopped was, she didn't, I thought this was very nice of her to say
Yes.
she wanted to tell you before she didn't want you to be too far left behind. Me, myself, I would have walked right in at Christmas looking hot as hell, and my sister would have her jaw drop and go, what'd you do? But she was kind enough to say, I don't want to go too far without having you come along with her. And that's kind of the buddy feeling,
Yeah.
It's like, competition.
She's very kind.
She was very kind. I would have been rude as hell. But,
I think things come to you when you're ready to receive them. That
Yes.
you can't force change on anyone that is not at the right mindset to be receptive. And, she just, you hear these stories about you got to hit rock bottom before you can, get up again. And I was really at a point in my life where I'd hit rock bottom. I was at the heaviest I had been. I had yo-yoed my whole life and dieted and exercised myself, endlessly to get my weight down. And, then that would creep back up and down and everything under the sun I had tried. But you just can't live those kinds of lifestyle. That's not a lifestyle to live where you're going from diet to diet, deprivation to deprivation. So I had really reached the maximum weight in my life. This was the summer of 2015, and I weighed close to 275 pounds. And I'm taller than my sister Jenny, so I could carry my weight much more, discreetly, I guess, or undiscreetly, as you can see by that photo. I have a lot more muscle on my body, but I had the height advantage, that she didn't have. So I fooled myself, You kind of justify things, and you see yourself. She said she saw herself as a 14 when she was a double X, and you just don't. You lose perspective of
you
where
rationalize.
you are, but.
You rationalize.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taller than her. It's okay to be
Yeah.
275.
Heavier. Yeah, I'm
She's
fine.
230,
Yeah.
223.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let me ask you, so she, it's timing. You were in a place where you were either going to just keep doing that, or she calls
Yeah.
up and tells you, hey, I have something to tell you. And
Yeah.
how did that?
Yeah, she did. Well, it was kind of a funny call because it was right around the 4th of July kind of time frame, and I had just, had the picture on the left there shows my little goddaughter, Anya, who's a precious little being, and she was about she would have been about 6 months old in July. No, she would have been less than that. Anyway, she would have been about just over a year old when this happened. And I had gotten a little swimming pool for her for the backyard, and I was outside playing with her, and, I was sitting on this little red chair and wanting her to have the best summer possible, out there in this little swimming pool, and watching her. And I was just feeling horrible. I was at my heaviest weight, and I was putting a smile on my face, trying to have a good time. And it was a surreal moment as this little antique chair that I had given to her, the leg broke on it. And all of a sudden I was on the ground, and I was like laying there wondering if I'd had a heart attack or a stroke or
Oh my God.
Scary.
or something. And you can read about this in the book, in my story in the book. But and Hobson's father.
So the leg of the chair broke, and you fell down onto the ground because the leg of the chair broke. And
Yeah,
and
but
you didn't even
it was
know
a little tiny
why.
chair. It was a kid's chair, so for a little kid's table. So I was, a foot and a half off the ground at the most. But, I was also carrying a lot of fat. So, when I rolled over onto the ground, it was a slow motion sort of thing. It wasn't a crash. There was no crack or anything. I just kind of rolled over. All of a sudden, Anya's mother was like concerned, and the father comes out.
Oh,
He's like,
boy.
who broke the chair?
Oh, jeez.
Oh
my God.
Back, like, that ASS broke the chair.
Oh, man. Oh,
One
jeez.
of those moments where, and I talk about this in my story, that they had to get a little heavy-duty Home Depot stool for me to sit on for the rest of the time, and felt like I was going to time out, and it was just humiliating, and I just was depressed, and this was a few days later. I mean, within a few days, the phone rang, and it was my sister. And this is my sister that never called.
That never what? We're
We're
losing you.
losing you. You're in and out.
Yeah.
She never called me. She, my sisters were identical twins, and they were 2 years older than me. So they had each other. And
Right.
I was not in that circle, because I was, the little sister. And so growing up and going into our adult life, we were in different circles, and we weren't, close. And she called, and I was just like, why is she calling me? It was going through my mind. I was depressed anyway. I was like, what does she want? I don't, she's not getting to the point. She's talking about these two fabulous women that she knows, about this, lifestyle, and how it's changing her life, and she's going on and on. And I was just like, what is the point? What is she talking about? And then she said, in the last 3 months, I have dropped 30 pounds. And that's when I started paying attention, because my sister would not be dieting. She'd not be starving herself to death. She wouldn't be in the gym every day for 3 hours a day, doing cardio. And so something was different, and I started to listen, and she started to explain it and talking about the lifestyle. And then, in my mind, I'm like, I've tried everything, I don't want to invest time in something that's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me exactly what I need to do. Give me a shopping list, order, if there's something I have to order, a workbook or something, order it for me. Here's my credit card. But I don't want to invest any time, but I will try it. And so, within less than a week, I had gotten to the store and gotten the shopping list, bought, and the workbook, and she outlined the
day for me, and I got started, and the fat started coming off, and it was at 3 pounds a week. And,
Wow.
you know, I didn't want to question it. I didn't want to, like, say, yay, it's working. I just kept my head down, and I decided I'd give it a try, and I kept doing it, and the clothes kept getting looser and looser, and then I was down 10 pounds and 20 pounds, 30 pounds. And it was about when I got to about 40 or 50 that I wanted to know why it was working. And that's when I joined, because I still in my mind didn't believe it was going to work, even up to 30, 40 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it hit some mark in there between 40 or 50, I wanted to know why. And that's when I got on the Facebook room and I started listening to the support calls, and I asked questions and to learn more, because this was like something I had never seen.
Well,
and
I also know that
different.
You also, because now you have a thirst for knowledge as to why this is happening, you did take the coaching course, because this was like, I want to know why. The coaching course is not just to become a coach, it's to know why is to know how. And you took that course and you've listened to all the calls, and then you knew Dr. Vicki and I wanted to write a book. And I kept hearing about that book. You were going to write it. Soon, and I remember the conversation, because it's like, okay, I have a big event every springtime, and it's like, if I don't get started on that book after my next big event, I'm going to sit down and start writing, because I look at all of the knowledge you two have in your head. I could call you up, or you're on a support call and somebody asks a question about, why is my body doing this, or why do I have a rash now on my face, or why am I feeling this way, or why am I not having a bowel movement, or oh my gosh, now I'm having 3 bowel movements a day. Is that abnormal? And you answer these questions, whether it's about nutrition or about food properties, what's in food, or why our bodies function the way they do, and why is, how we digest and how we absorb, and, the whole thing. And I just would listen to you. I mean, these are answers you don't have to look up. You ladies know this. And I felt like, oh my gosh, how can we get this from helping a few thousand people to helping millions? And that's what I became passionate about, with your vision to help millions, as well as my sister Jennifer, that we knew we were sitting on something that would change the world. And we live right now in the fattest country in the world. Yeah.
America has the highest rate of obesity. We have our children, are in really bad, their future is, it's so sad, when you think about the rate of diabetes that is accelerating in the country we live in. And it's because people don't know how to eat and nutrify their body to live in optimal health. And this gives Flush Your Fat for Good is the blueprint for anybody to easily understand how to do that.
Let me say this, because you're right. We kept saying we're going to get this book written. We've got these, and we're looking into somebody to help us get this book going and blah, blah, blah. You said you wanted to take a crack at it. And I'm like, what do you mean you want to take a crack? I didn't know anything about you, really, except you lost 100 pounds. You look great. And you're the owner of CineQuest Films up in, Northern California. It's like, what do you know about writing a book? We can't do it.
I know nothing. I'm not a writer,
Well, but
my education is computers,
right.
And I run a big arts institute, but I know nothing of writing.
But you did say, and I agreed, we both agreed with this, we don't want this written like a diet book.
Right.
We want this written so people will want to read it, and How did you explain that? You said, I want this book to be written so that I want to read it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When I, you know, if you had come to me and said, Kathleen, can we hire you to write the book? And, you know, I'm not a writer, but when you're so passionate about something, you can find the words.
Yeah.
And I felt like and that's the way I really approached it. And I had been working on it for, my event ended in March, and I started working on it. I remember a conference call you and Dr. Vicki and I were on, and the three of us were talking, and you said something. We were talking about the book, and you said something like, "But who's gonna start writing the book?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I've been working on it now for 3 months." But it was that mindset of like, I have to get something on paper before I can start sharing it, because I didn't even know if I could do it, you know, and to start getting the framework so that we could get this, you know, moving forward and get everything in your mind, because you guys have so much information in your mind. How do you get that to a place, you know, to help millions?
We were like
that was the whole exciting part of that process, was what gems do you capture, and how do you, you know, how do you take the gold that you women have? You know, I mean, I wish we could just bottle you up and send you to everybody.
Well, we were like, thanks, but we were like two squirrels, and you had to herd us, you know, because we were all over the place trying to do everything, trying to, you know, help people.
And the nice thing is, look, it's a beautiful book.
We have like 1 minute, so I'm giving you 1 minute.
I just want to say it's on.
That's the thing that you, just adding to that you both dedicate your life to helping people. And when people call, you spend the time with them. At the time I met you, you were on 3 calls a week supporting people and different conference calls. And managing the Facebook rooms and everything else.
And training
coaches.
coaches.
So the book really helps. I just want to say thank you so much. We got 1 minute to say, you guys get the book on Amazon.com. It's also on our website. It's me, Dr. Vicki, and Kathleen. Yep. And Kathleen, thanks so much for joining us on this. Both you girls' stories are just... they're inspirational, and they're helping so many people. And hopefully everybody will join us tomorrow on the Power 100 call as well. So we want to say goodnight to everybody, and God bless.
Good night.
You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicki, only on LA Talk Radio.